The aftermath of Amanda's death was pretty ugly, especially for me. The coroner had no problem declaring she'd committed suicide, and he also had no problem figuring out why. I was forced to tell the police the whole story about the pregnancy and our argument, and of course that got back to Jonathan and the others. I won't say they blamed me, but they didn't exactly forgive me either. After that, we'd see each other around campus and everything. We were always pleasant enough, but the real friendship was over. When I graduated, I moved to New York City, and I didn't see any of them again for a long time. All right, so 7 years go by. I go through some hard times, then I start to establish myself as a writer. My first couple of novels come out, I get some movie sales, hit some bestseller lists. Things start to go well. But I was aware that in some way, what happened with Amanda continued to affect my life. I had a few girlfriends here and there, but I never really established another long-term relationship. I grew apart from my family. Most of the people I called friends were really just casual acquaintances. There was always a part of myself that I kept in reserve, that I was never quite willing to share with anyone else. One day in December, I came home from a party and found a message on my answering machine. It was Jonathan Wilson. He said he was in New York and he wanted to meet with me. This'll sound strange, but somehow I'd been expecting that call for a long time. The next day, Jonathan and I met at my local tavern, the Glades. It was a cold, drizzly afternoon, and I remember I stepped into the bar and was sort of brushing off my overcoat, looking around for him. And at first I didn't see him. That is, I must have passed over him without recognizing him. Then I did. He was seated at a table in back by the brick fireplace, staring into a glass of red wine. It was only 7 years since I'd seen him last, but he seemed to have aged decades. He was thin and gray and drawn. I sat down with him, ordered a drink. He told me straight out, things had been going badly for him. He'd been ill off and on. He drifted in his work, going from job to job, finally ending up at his father's investment firm, a situation that was going only moderately well. The same was true of the others, he said. The other 3 who'd been at his house that Christmas. Jennifer had been struggling with drugs and alcohol. Michael had been through an ugly divorce that left him depressed and nearly bankrupt. Susan had gone through a series of abusive relationships, one of which ended up with her in the hospital with a couple of broken bones. It's about her, Jonathan said. It's about Amanda. I don't know why, but we can't get past it. She haunts us. She won't let us move on. Then he said, I read about you in the papers all the time. You seem to be doing well. It was like an accusation. Here I was, the one most closely connected with Amanda's death. If anyone was responsible for it, obviously it was me. And I had my problems, as I said, but basically he was right. Things were going pretty well, and I told him so. He stared into his drink a long time. Then he looked up and said, we have to go back. We've all agreed. We're going to meet up at the house in a week. We're going to spend Christmas there. I asked him, what's that supposed to accomplish? He said, I don't know. None of us knows. We just have to do it. Will you come? I said I'd think about it, and I did, and I thought, that time of my life, even that Christmas at the Wilson house before the tragedy, those were the happiest days I'd ever known. For all my successes, nothing had ever come close. Maybe they were right. Maybe if we could go back, capture something of that spirit, lay our guilt about Amanda's death to rest, maybe we could all be happy again. I called Jonathan in the morning and told him I would drive up to the house next weekend.